cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the podcast for a clan meeting. Welcome to Paws Clause, a podcast where we read the Warrior Cats books in chronological order. I'm Scout, joined by my co-host and potential plant propagator, Jillian, and today we will be discussing the 17th published super edition, Ivypool's Hart.
Hello, Scout.
Hi, Jill. How's the plants going?
Well, it was going, and now I don't know if it's going anymore. I found sproutlings in my thyme and sage, and I moved them to bigger containers and gave them sunlight. And last I checked, I did not see the green anymore.
Oh no!
So I don't know what happened there. Only 2 of my catgrass seeds have sprouted.
Wow.
And also I think, because the catgrass had to be outside now that it's sprouted, and the seeds don't get buried, I do believe they have been attacked.
I was gonna say, are the creatures getting them?
Yes, I do believe the creatures are getting them, but 2 of them are still sprouted. I'm gonna try and find a better container for them. The plants that my friend gave me have revived, thank goodness.
Amazing.
Yeah, the lemon balm I was in kind of a touch and go.
The lemon balm was in the ICU.
But it has really perked up. And the lemon drops are looking good, and the wood spurge lost a stalk because it got too tall and it broke itself.
Oh, too heavy.
Because it got too tall and top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But it has some new growth on it that's looking like pretty good.
Nice.
The chamomile has not sprouted yet. The catnip, I thought there were sproutlings on there, but I haven't seen them again. I do worry that some of them may have gotten a little shifted around when I did a lot of the replanting, because there was a lot of movement. Mm-hmm. But we will see. I'm hopeful.
I hope it sounds like
There's also a giant fucking mound of ants underneath the pot where I put the chamomile. So, because I moved the chamomile pot, because I was like, there's a lot of ants around here. So I moved the pot a little bit, and there was just I don't know, the size of the bottom, the diameter of a coffee mug, just mound of ants that were underneath there.
Is fucking Bug's Life down there?
Fucking Bug's Life down there.
Oh my god.
Actually, you just reminded me. So I got, because I have a lot of bird seed, because I have a lot of birds, I got these big metal, almost like trash can looking things, big metal tins.
Yeah.
To store all the seed in.
The cartoon ideal of a trash can.
Yes, exactly. So I've got one that's all of the bagged seed that I have, the suet balls and whatnot. I have one that's I mix my own custom bird seed at this point. I get a bunch of different ingredients that I have found that my birds enjoy.
Connoisseur.
I mix it all together. I know. And then I have one that's just shelled peanuts. Or not shelled. Yes.
Peanuts in the shell.
Peanuts in the shell. Unshelled, as it were. Because that makes sense. I love the English language.
Trying to know what state peanuts are in is one of the most agonizing English language things that you can do, honestly.
I did go out today to refill all the bird seed, and the lid was off of the peanut bucket. And I worry, I was like, did I forget to put the lid back on the peanut bucket? Or did the squirrels find out how to open up the peanut bucket?
The squirrels are getting tools.
Well, that's the thing is, there was a trail of, peanut shells going up the deck, and there was a squirrel on the deck yesterday, bothering the hell out of Zelda. So I don't know if I know that a squirrel got in there and ate them, but I don't know if it's my fault or if the squirrels are too smart. Which reminds me, I can see the containers from my window here, so I'm going to double check and see if they've been opened, because I know I closed it today.
All right.
Okay, so I actually can't see them. But I also didn't see the lid of a trash can, just hanging out on the ground.
Flung around, yeah, all right.
So,
fingers crossed the squirrels haven't learned.
That would be...
Their brains are expanding.
Yeah. If the squirrels figure, because it's not locked, but it does like press down enough that you kind of have to like lift it.
Yeah.
So if the squirrels fucking figured that shit out, I fear for my life.
The squirrels are coming for you next.
Yeah, me specifically.
Wow. Well, before the squirrels get you, how has the prey been running?
The prey's been running all right. I made some cavatini this week when we went over to our friends.
Yummy.
And they made a pavlova for dessert, which I'd never had a pavlova before.
I also haven't had a pavlova, and it has been on my list of things that I want to make this year, actually.
It's really good.
It looks good. It looks so good. When I see a pavlova, I'm like, damn, I do want to eat that.
I ate quite a bit. They made homemade lemon curd for it too, which was also really yummy, but it was very, very, very sour. So
Really
I could
tart.
not have a lot of it. It was incredibly tart. But yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I would love to like try and make one someday, but like it was delicious.
Yummy. Yeah. Every time I make something that requires only egg yolks, I save the egg whites and I say, tomorrow, with these egg whites,
I will do this.
I'm going to make a pavlova. And then the next day comes and it doesn't happen. I just got to do it. The thing is, I have step one, which is plan to do it. And it's just executing the second step that can be a problem. But one of these days.
For sure.
One of these days. You watch mark my words, pavlova, you're going to get made.
Words. But how's it been running with you?
Prey's been running pretty good for me. We've had a nice week of meals. I made one of my favorite things. I call it pizza chickpeas sometimes. This is a recipe that I've been sharing around our friend group at this point.
Oh yeah.
Shout out friend of the show, Robin from Girl Mode, and also from our other podcast, In Sequence, who recently made this as well, which is like a chickpea and sausage meal in tomato sauce with cheese on top, and you eat it just like that, or you eat it with bread.
I was gonna say, you eat it.
And you eat it.
Crazy.
I know, it's amazing what the technology that we have these days, where you can eat the food that you make. It's real good. So I made that this week, and I've got some leftover fried rice in the fridge that I have to eat for lunch tomorrow. Yummy.
I will go ahead and say I think the only Warrior Cats news that we have to share is there is like a summer reading thing going on through Books A Million that has Warriors themed prizes at the end.
Yeah.
One of them appears to be a Squirrel Flight sticker, I'm assuming.
It looks like a sticker.
It looks like a sticker. And the other one is a Poppet toy.
Puppet toy. We made this joke in our Discord as well, but it feels targeted that they know that there's a large crossover between the autistic community and the Warrior Cats community, that they put a Poppet in here as the prize that you get for reading a lot of books. They got us clocked.
Yeah. And I believe since the last time we recorded, Indie Bookstore Day has happened. They released a physical copy of the Warriors TTRPG, which is crazy that they actually did that.
That's pretty exciting that they actually went through with that.
Yeah. I did manage to snag a copy.
Nice.
And I have not looked through it yet, because I'm pretty sure it's just all the same stuff that I already had, but actually printed in one condensed format instead of spread out across like 5, 6, whatever different books.
Yeah, across just in the backs of the books.
In the backs of a bunch of books, yeah.
So that's really exciting that they did that.
Hell
yeah.
Cool that happened, and I was really pleased that it was a reasonable price.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because I was definitely expecting them to jack up the price of this, but it was $10.
That's a deal.
It's a deal. It's a bargain at any price, as my dad would say. But yeah, I believe right now, books-wise, we are the most recent Changing Skies book just came out. Is it Changing Skies? I always keep forgetting what the fucking arc is called. Yes.
Yeah, it's called Changing Skies.
The book is Chasing Shadows.
That's the thing that's the thing.
Chasing Shadows just came out. We are anticipating soon enough the graphic novel adaptation for
New Prophecy.
New Prophecy and the Dark Tales Judgment Super Edition.
They still be writing Warrior Cats.
A lot of people that I talk to are very surprised that, like, when I mention the fact that I am, like, that we have this podcast, a lot of people are genuinely surprised that there are still Warrior Cats books and that there are so many.
It's pretty impressive. There aren't a lot of, I think, American series especially, or I suppose Western series, because it's British, but also it's very popular in America, that go this long. You know, I'm thinking of like manga series and all of the spin-offs that come from that, from like really famous shonen manga and stuff. Those are big franchise kind of book series. We don't get a ton of franchised young adult or middle grade media at this point. I feel like nothing this big. Especially recently. And obviously this has like 20 years of history, and that's part of the thing that continues to propel it forward. But I think they could wind it down and we would be fine. But
yeah,
I also respect that they keep making it.
Yeah, I gotta respect the grind.
We got one cover that I will bring up today. It's just the Owen Richardson cover. There's no international covers for this book that I could find at this point. It's a perfectly fine cover. It's not great.
I think as far as Owen Richardson covers have gone, it's one of the, like, more unique ones. Like, at least Ivypool is a distinct character.
Yes. And there's, I suppose, because the copy I have from the library has the more traditional super edition look of the cat portrait on a solid background. So I presume this is maybe the under the cover or
It is.
Yes, there it is.
Yep, under the slipcover is the full piece of art, which has a really nice landscape done. Like, I criticize Owen Richardson's cat portraits a lot, and I do have criticisms of this Ivypool one where it looks like her scar is just a
fur.
smear of... Yeah, it looks like it's just a smear of, like, dried blood on her forehead.
Yeah.
But, like, the man knows how to do a landscape.
Yeah, he does some good landscapes. I really appreciate that the Foxhead Mountain is represented here on the back.
It looks really good.
It looks super cool. I'm a big fan. And I like all the little bugs flying around.
Yeah, the stag is a little too ethereal for my taste. It's kind of giving another piece of work that I will not mention. But I do appreciate its inclusion on the back there.
It also
nice.
It does look a little bit, if you really zoom in on it, it looks a little bit like it's just a JPEG of a deer that they found and pasted in there. But as far as Owen Richardson covers go, I think this is a pretty solid one, especially when you have the whole thing and not just the slipcover. I take great umbrage with the way that they do the super editions with the slipcovers that are very boring, and then underneath the slipcovers are the actual good pieces.
Yeah, with the, like, silhouettes. That's the, like, samey silhouettes on every single one. It's really annoying because we used to be a proper country. Like, the Firestars Quest one was still, like, unique enough.
Yeah, they had a formula, and they've stuck with the formula, but it's gotten worse. Because they used to have the cutout in the actual slipcover, like the physical, literal cutout in the slipcover. That I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. But they don't really do that anymore.
Well, and they also had, like, pretty cool art underneath the slipcovers.
Yes, they've always had the big illustrations under the slipcovers, and I think that they should. I think they're overthinking it with the slipcover thing. I understand that it's kind of like a fancy little thing that they do, but I would just rather they have the whole big piece on the cover.
Yeah.
I think it looks better.
I agree.
But yeah, there's some nice touches in the full illustration here. I agree. I think that the scar is really not well done on the Ivypool portrait. It sticks out to me every time I look at it. But I do think that overall I like her face and stuff here pretty good. I like the notched ear. She's a little bit too much just a tabby and not enough like tabby spotted white that I usually envision her as. But overall pretty good. Pretty good Owen Richardson cover as far as it goes. All right. Is it time?
It is time.
It is time for the summary. This is kind of a long one, gamers. I tried to make it as short as I could, but things really start to go some places, and I had to put a lot of exposition in here once we got to a certain point. So bear with me as I take us on a journey. The loss of Bristlefrost still hangs heavy over Ivypool's head. Despite her new responsibilities as Squirrel Star's deputy, she feels distant and disconnected from her family, friends, and clan. Even secret meetings with Root Spring to commiserate in their shared grief only ever provides temporary relief to the hole in her heart. When Whistlepaw shares a new vision with the clans, one not sent by StarClan but by long-forgotten ancestors seeking to right an ancient wrong, Ivypool jumps at the opportunity to represent ThunderClan in the quest, hoping it might provide relief or at least distraction. She, Whistlepaw, Dovewing, Rootspring, and Icewing set out, one cat from each of the 5 clans. They seek a mountain with a peak shaped like a fox's head, a part of Whistlepaw's vision. Low cloud cover and heavy rain obscures their sightline and delays them, but, in a stroke of luck, they reconnect with the sisters via 2 young toms who recently set out on their wander. Snow and the other sisters ask after the events of the Dark Forest and hold a ceremony to honor the lost lives of Graystripe and Bristlefrost. They connect to Graystripe, but even their unusual communion can find no trace of Bristlefrost, washing Ivypool with a fresh wave of grief. They inform the party they will find the Foxhead Mountain if they follow the power lines running along the nearby road. They tangle with strange 2-leg obstacles several times, but eventually reach their destination. The mountain overlooks the Sundrown Place. The cats dodge oceanic dangers and escape high tide, coming upon a structure radiating strange scents. Whistlepaw, feeling the place is key to their quest, leads the party inside, where they find many scared and neglected animals, the likes of which the cats have never seen before, including wild cats, who, startlingly, can speak and understand them. These cats, Stalk, Purr, and Tumble Leap, explain how they also lived in something like a clan, which slowly whittled away until they were captured by the 2-leg that runs this operation. When Whistlepaw shows them a symbol from her vision, the Wildcats recount stories of something called Storm Clan, from whom they may be distantly descended. They provide directions to the sacred tree where their elders once connected to their ancestors. But with Stalkpur expecting kits, they tentatively refuse the clan cat's offers to break them free. The party sets out to the sacred tree, which was another piece of the puzzling vision Whistlepaw received. Inside, they connect to the Wildcat's afterlife and are greeted by Galestar, former leader of a combined Wind Clan and Thunder Clan that was driven from the forest generations ago and long forgotten in the clan's oral histories. After being separated from her mate and co-leader Stripestar, Galestar and their kits were rescued and taken in by Wildcats, where they lived out the rest of their lives. She instructs the party to free the captive Wildcats and lead them to a group of their kind that still remains in a well-concealed location. Ivypool leads the party in a plan to sabotage the cages of the other animals and cause a ruckus and distraction big enough to cover their escape. With the extraction successful, they travel a great distance in their search for the Wildcats' hidden home. Not far from their destination, Stalkpur goes into labor, and Whistlepaw helps her deliver 3 healthy kits. Impatient to wrap this quest up after a disturbing shared dream of RiverClan's camp, the party sends Ivypool and Icewing to find the other Wildcats while the rest of them stay with the newborns. They are not greeted kindly by the Wildcats when they reach the camp, but after they aid with a fox attack, the elders begin to believe the clan cats' seemingly outlandish stories of their origins and purpose here. They help Ivypool, Icewing, and Galestar's spirit to traverse their afterlife, which sits beside a river that, they explain, runs through all the afterlives. Along the currents, they catch glimpses of the tribe of endless hunting in the mountains, and Ivypool is tempted to seek echoes of her daughter in the dark forest, before they finally wash their way into StarClan. When the oldest members are confronted by Galestar with the memories of StormClan, the forgotten spirits of Stripestar and the other members are pulled back from oblivion to live in StarClan's hunting grounds. The ancient wrong has been righted at last. When Ivypool asks Stripestar what it was like to be forgotten, he explains that he was everywhere and nowhere. In the trees, in the earth, in the water, much like the afterlife the Wildcats believe in. Ivypool dares to hope that Bristlefrost might have found that sort of existence. Finally, the clan cats are able to unite Stalkpur, Tumbleleap, and their 3 kits with their new family and their new home. The debts owed to the spirits and descendants of StormClan have been repaid, and they can make their way home to the lake at last. Ivypool reflects on the journey she's taken, the cats she's met, and the viewpoints she's been given. She and Rootspring dream of Bristlefrost. In the morning, they both feel her presence as they witness a pale stag drink from a stream. They speak one more time about the cat they loved, lost, and in this new way, found again. She is not here, but she is everywhere, and she is always with them.
And that was the book.
That was the book. Tell me your overall thoughts on this one.
Overall, I think I came out pretty positive on this one.
All right, great.
I had a good time reading it. Overall, as a book, as a piece of written work, did it have some issues? Very much so. But overall, I found it to be like, I like it when the super editions get a little out there with it, you know? I like a super edition that isn't just rehashing the same stuff from a different perspective. I like it when we expand the world a little bit, when we, like, do something new with the universe. And also, I really, like, after complaining so much about all the POV shifting in Starless Clan, it was so nice to just be in one cat's head the entire time.
Honestly, it was pretty nice.
It was so refreshing.
That it was just Ivypool. And sometimes that really drags in a super edition, but it worked here.
Yeah, but I think it worked here. What about you?
Yeah, I think I came out on it cooler than you. Kind of, it's not exactly that the stuff that worked for you is also stuff that wasn't working for me. It's more that I think I do also really like when they do something different with the super editions. This one felt like it was too many things and maybe it went a little too far afield for me.
Okay, yeah.
But I love Ivypool. All of the, or at least a lot of the stuff with Bristlefrost and her grief and sort of trying to deal with that was really working for me in this book. There are characterization issues, I think, with some of the way that Ivypool is written here that really bugged me. And then I don't think they stuck the landing for me. And that really brought the whole thing down. I was really hoping that they would stick it. And I think this whole book, following the theme that I've had for a lot of our recent reads, is that it's full of good concepts, but suffers from poor execution a lot.
Definitely.
I do think I like this generally better than some of the Starless Clan books. I think it's probably ranks higher this season than some of the other stuff we've read, but still, as far as the series as a whole, not super high for me.
Totally get that. I guess we could start off. You've been taking a page out of Robin's book here.
I did. I gave us some talking points today.
With talking points. They're bolded in our notes. My first note was simply a J Feather appreciation moment.
Shout out.
When Whistlepaw is first talking about the fact that, like, StarClan said that they didn't send this vision to her. They're confused about it. First thing, looking back at it, they're like, StarClan was confused as we were that a vision vision could come from somewhere else, as if we didn't have an entire arc about Shadowsight having visions from somewhere else. As if we didn't literally have a big plot point of Jay Feather having the connection with the tribe of endless hunting and having visions from them. Anyway.
Midnight isn't a member of StarClan?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
But the Jay Feather moment is, just imagine StarClan faced with a vision they couldn't understand. Maybe now they'll know how we feel.
I did like that line.
Drag their asses.
Get them. Yeah.
Yes.
He just remains good.
He just remains, it's, you know, he's been around for a while, so, like, of course he is, at this point, relegated to a snarky side character. Mm-hmm. But I do appreciate when he shows up in Medicine Cat meetings just to give StarClan shit.
It's good.
Like, that man, when he dies, he's gonna look at StarClan and he's gonna say, I think I'm just gonna become a ghost. I mean, obviously he will go to StarClan and be with his mom, because they had that very touching reunion moment. But I do feel like he will become the number one shit stirrer in StarClan.
Probably. Though he will also probably be happy to be with his wife, Half Moon, his wife from the past.
That's true. Is she in StarClan, though? Although I guess he could just hop on down the river.
Just go on the river! Which is another thing. We'll get to that.
The river is one of my main gripes. Don't worry. Yeah. I fucking hate the river.
What are we? It's fine. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there this later.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Let's see. My first note is just like, we started off really strong. There were some high emotional high points for me in the beginning, where just like sitting with Ivypool and Root Spring in their grief for Bristlefrost and missing her really hit at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I
liked Root Spring and Ivypool having their little conversations by the lake where they're like, I miss her too. And just having those moments together.
I really appreciated that. Even though they sort of frame it as this thing that they're doing in secret, I think that it's... Yeah. I think it's and also sometimes they say, like, are you just commiserating in a way that's not really helping either of you move on? I think that there's...
And I think that's a bad frame I feel like saying to someone, like, you shouldn't be talking about your grief with someone who understands it is maybe not the way to approach things.
Yeah. I think that it's really nice that I don't want to say I can understand, but I can see the view of, like, misery loves company is a thing that people say. And that is kind of like, if you just complain about something, then you never move on from the complaining. But I don't think that that's what this is.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing.
I feel like it does affect Ivypool a little bit more in this book, where it's like she is doing this and neglecting, like, her life. But, like, the idea of the two of them, like, talking about it at all being a bad idea is something I do not agree with. Especially because, like, with Root Spring, it is not shown to be like, this is negatively impacting his life. Like, he is not shirking his duties and whatnot. He's just kind of going to talk with his would-be mother-in-law. So, yeah, I feel like it is not as detrimental as they want us to believe it is. Because especially at the end where they're like, we should probably not do this anymore. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you guys should be able to talk to each other.
Yeah. You can also just not, you don't have to do it, like, right before Ivypool has to do her job. You could do it just at a different time. There are more hours in the night, and it's fine.
Yeah.
The emotional stuff early on really worked, and then it felt like Ivypool was stuck in a cycle of saying the same things and having the same grief for so much of the book that, like, the further we went on, the less it worked because it wasn't evolving at all.
Yeah, the grief was never evolving in either direction.
It wasn't getting worse or better. It was just staying exactly where it was. And
which, like, can happen for real people, but in a narrative, it makes for a very, like, boring book. If you are writing a book, there needs to be change. So, Yeah, and a lot of it felt very tell, not show.
Yes.
Like, it was always saying, like, oh, I miss her so much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, this is what grief feels like. How can I ever recover from this? And it's like, okay, girl, you have said it, but, like, we're not seeing it on the page. Like, we're just hearing you say the words. And some of the reviews that I saw kind of, like, made some really good points of, like, there's not a ton, like, as much as Ivypool and Bristlefrost are very loved characters, there's not a lot of their relationship on screen in previous books for them to, like, draw on a lot of specific memories that would be, like, good callbacks to, like, oh, remember in this book when they did this thing together. It was all very new, especially with talking about, like, I remember how Fernsong used to, like, sit with them in the nursery. I'm like, yeah, we heard that he was gonna do that when we found out that you were gonna have kids, but we never saw it.
We didn't see it, yeah.
It feels very like we're making up sad things to try and evoke the sadness instead of having built up, like, genuine connections for people to have this emotional connection with.
I think one of the most glaring ways that, I don't know, one of the most glaring, but a way that the Broken Code fell short was just how background Ivypool was.
Yes.
When her daughter was a major part of the arc, and, like, there was this big death at the end, and a death that's, like, not the kind of death that we've ever done in Warrior Cats before.
Yes, I absolutely.
How do we feel generally about Ivypool's characterization?
She feels a little flat to me in this book. Like, she feels very one note. It does not feel like, and it doesn't even feel like it's like, oh, the grief has changed her. It feels like her personality is lady who can't get over it. Like, her daughter's death.
Yeah.
There is no, like, personality to the way she speaks. And the, like, fact that she is, like, shirking her duties does not, like, match with the cat that we saw in A Starless Clan.
Exactly.
Because, like, otherwise, like, Bristlefrost was dead before that arc. Squirrel Star would not have picked her if she had been, like, constantly shirking her duties to go meet with Rootspring.
Yeah. And we saw...
again, it's that copy editing, like, consistency in the story issue for me of, like, we are not, like, making the characters make sense.
Especially when we literally had major scenes in Starless Clan where she was doing all the work with Sunbeam on those really incredible trials that we talked about so much because they ruled and they were so good and they were so thoughtful and they were so, like, present. And the scenes where she actively was speaking with Squirrel Star about, like, hey, remember when this other thing happened with Night Star when he said that he had 9 lives and then he didn't, and then that was a whole kerfuffle with Shadow Clan? Like, this kind of thing has precedent and could happen again. So we have a very active Ivypool in the books.
Yes.
In the series. And then you get here and it's just sort of said that she's very listless, that she's very apathetic, that she's absent from her duties, to the point where other cats are noticing. And it felt so out of pace with the cat that we were seeing in the series that is parallel to this one that really bothered me.
Exactly.
And I think the flatness ties in the same way with our issues with the way that her grief is only ever portrayed in one way. Like, that is part of the thing that is flattening her here as well. Even the moment, she gets this one moment where, like, she gets really pissed off at a dog that's chasing her, and she has this sort of cathartic moment of getting really angry, but they never even tie that back into being a side effect of the grief in any way, really.
It's like one wild moment of crazy anger, and then she just is like, okay, I'm normal now.
I'm crazy, I'm crazy, I'm crazy, I'm crazy, I'm crazy. Okay, I'm normal. Sorry, I'm normal.
Shout out to Warrior Clan mention.
Shout out to Warrior Clan mention.
We get a brief Warrior Clan mention in this book. I liked Slate and Beach. I think they were fun.
They were fun.
Silly little guys.
You have beautiful fur. It's very tabby.
The way that Beach immediately tries flirting with Dovewing, who is, like, certified MILF at this point. Like, that is boy. Dude. it is so clear that she is so much older than you, and he's still trying to shoot his shot. Cracked me up.
She's going for it. She's like, I literally have sons who are three times your age, 4 times your age, 5 times your age, something like that. She's like, I'm literally old enough to be your mom. Like, I'm old enough to be your grandma, honestly, probably.
But I think they were kind of fun little additions to the group. I think the moment where all of the cats they bring them to their Slate and Beach, bring them to bring the patrol to their camp, and everybody's like, damn bitch, you live like this? Like, and they're like, should we clean this place up for them? And it's like, no, we have to show them how to clean up because we cannot be doing this for them. Was a very funny moment, but it was definitely like very much a damn bitch, you live like this moment. It was very funny. They're very teenage boy coded, and I was kind of charmed by that.
Yeah. I just remembered that I had a whole theory that we were going to go back to the park in this book. I never said it out loud, but this was a theory that I had and I think at some point I mentioned something about like, I feel like we might get more B in the future. And it was because I had this idea in my head that part of this journey was them going to the park, and then they didn't. I was really surprised by that, actually. Yeah. But we did see a lot of other, but we got to see the sisters again.
Yeah, I think that the attitude towards the sisters in this book was very weird.
It was, right? I mean, the attitude towards the sisters has always been weird, but it felt even more, it felt very much like...
It felt very weird, especially coming from a cat like Ivypool, like to be like so like, but what about the boys? I'm like, no girl, that's not you. Like, I know that you have your male wife and he's great, but like, this isn't you.
Yeah.
She would not fucking say that. No, it came across as like incredibly judgy and like, I don't know. I'm someone who like doesn't. I feel like sometimes I'm in the minority of like, okay, so they don't keep men around. Like, what the fuck ever. Like, that's just their thing. But like, I'm like, so do the Amazons. Like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Like, why are we so up in arms about it? I'm specifically talking about like in other books that the sisters feature heavily, and I've seen a lot of like chatter in the fan spaces of like, this is reverse sexism, or like, this is messed up that like they don't allow men, like this isn't fair, this is so weird, like why would they do this? And I'm like, y'all, it's a book. There's so much weirder things that could be happening. Like,
I feel like the thing that I struggle with the sisters way more than that is just the general, like, there is an aspect of neglect to the raising of their male children, and that part I have a problem with. And I think sometimes people then extrapolate that out into a whole thing of like, they hate women, no, they don't. They are women. They hate men. And it's like, that's not really the issue. The issue is different. The issue isn't they hate men. The issue is that they have a culture that is being very ungenerous
culture of neglect
around
their male children is like a huge issue.
But it's not just a gender
who are, like,
thing.
Taking issue with the fact that they're like, they only meet up with male cats to like have mates or like hang out with them, but they don't let them come around with them. I'm like, and like
they can have
there
boundaries.
Are a lot of women who would love that life. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I don't think there's a problem with just. I don't think that's a problem with their lifestyle. Is like,
yeah, that's not the issue.
Having a man moving on and like not like if they don't keep that connection. And there's like no issue if the sisters decide they want to leave with them.
Yeah, if they decide they want to have a life partner.
It's just an issue if you're bringing the guy into the club.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a girls only club. Guys not allowed. I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. Absolutely.
Anyway, but I thought, like, yes, Ivypool makes some excellent criticisms of, like, you did not teach these boys anything, but there was also just a lot of, like, judgment of their lifestyle. And it's like, girl, not everybody, like, has a really deep love connection like you. Some people just want to get laid.
Some people just want to get laid, and that's okay. But
it's okay.
I was so happy. This is a silly one. I was really happy to have my guy Beetle Whisker brought up again. However, also, it was really hard for me to buy into being sad about him dying in the Dark Forest which was supposed to be this connection between Icewing and Ivypool here, when he died 3 separate times, I think, at least, and only one of those was in the Dark Forest, and that was the first one, and then he died a couple other times. I'm way too invested in, like, my own personal, just, like, the world that I exist in, where he's the only cat that's breaking the cat matrix or some shit, and he just keeps coming back for a while, that I can't think too much about the actual canon events of that he died in the Dark Forest, and all that other stuff doesn't count.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, I love Icewing, but as the books have done, there's not ever been a lot of focus on River Clan cats. Yeah, so we don't have that connection for her.
We have no pre-existing pathos about Icewing and her son Beetle Whisker, because that was just nothing that we've never had any scenes about it. And they kind of, with a lot of stuff in this book, they kind of try to make it something retroactively and it doesn't necessarily work. I think that's how a lot of the mom stuff landed for me across this, which is probably my next bolded point here. This is a quest about moms.
Appropriate that we're recording this on Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms.
Can't believe all moms
in this
were
book.
Born today.
Every mom was born today. Yeah, and I feel like there was a skeleton built into this, with the whole adventure was seeded with moms. Like, we have Dovewing, who just lost her son. We have Icewing, who has lost a son. We have Ivypool here. We meet the Wildcats, and, like, they have lost 2 litters. We have
Root Spring.
We have Root Spring, who is a mother.
No, side note, I do love that it's like the girls and Root Spring.
The girls and Root Spring is so funny. It's really good to me.
He's never beating the allegations.
So we have all of this stuff that on paper, it would be like, okay, this is a theme, and we're building a theme.
Yeah, because we've also got Gale Star and her
and
kids.
And we've got Gale Star and her
the
kids.
inciting incident.
But, I mean, I suppose it worked fine, but it didn't like, knock my socks off.
It didn't wow me.
Yeah.
As a theme, it was clear and it was consistent through the book, but it didn't do anything exciting and groundbreaking, I think, for me.
And with all of the groundwork that they had in the casting, it's pretty almost impressive to me that it landed so neutrally when, like, they really tried to stack it up, but they just couldn't put the pieces together to make these emotional connections feel impactful to Ivypool's processing of grief, I think, is like a big part of it. While we were speaking of Root Spring, I do actually really like the side story of Root Spring trying to find a way to move on romantically as well as emotionally. I thought that was a nice little insertion into this.
I would have liked more of that.
I also would have liked more of it. It felt like it was backgrounded too much. There was one scene where Ivypool overhears him arguing with Snow about it. And that was one of the moments where I was like, ooh, is this going to become more important? And it really didn't.
Yeah, it was just Ivypool kind of listening in instead of, like, actually getting to hear his side.
Yeah, and Ivypool, even when we have her observing this, she is so self-absorbed in her own grief that the only way that she can process this, like, seeing Root Spring go through this, is through her own feelings about it, which is not the thing that I'm looking for when I want to hear about Root Spring's journey through grief, you know?
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I thought it was hilarious that I'm just picking out. I had a couple of just small fun things that I noted. There was a moment where everybody is kind of roasting Tempest for her boyfriend. She's like, oh, he was so handsome. He had such soft fur. And they're all like, yeah, and his face was all smushed in and his name was Sweetums. And I love when we get a nod to, like, purebred cats.
Yeah. His name being Sweetums is devastating. Devastating for him.
It's really unfortunate. But I also thought it was hilarious.
It's really good.
Just a fun little thing to throw in there.
Yeah.
You note here, was that a horse show? I don't know what the fuck that was, because they're like
was going on
riding
with the
horse carriages through the woods or some shit.
Yeah. Who is doing this?
But, like, the part after where they're, like, showing, like, they're all, like, with the horses in the pasture is definitely, like, horse show
Seems
adjacent.
like a horse show, right? I thought
But,
maybe
like,
at one point I thought, is this a movie set? You know, are they, like, doing...
yeah, I don't know.
But then there would be cameras, and they would be like, what's that weird monster on a fucking dolly? What's cats discover dollies, you know? Like, so I was so...
Yeah.
This was one of, I think, the most inscrutable, like, cats viewing human things that we have observed in recent Warrior Cats books history. I was absolutely lost as to what the hell was going on with the horses. I was even slightly lost with whatever machine was in the apple orchard, because you don't really have, like, a harvester for an apple orchard. You just go and you pick the apples.
Yeah. Well, no, you do. They have those things that shake the trees.
Oh, a tree shaker. Maybe that's what it was.
They've got those things that shake the trees, and they got the big tarp.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's one of the. It gotta be one of them things. Okay. Yeah. All right. That makes more sense. But the horses, I'm still confused. And there were so many.
There were so many of them.
And they did have carriages. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I did like that they saw a pine marten and they were like, that thing would fuck us up, but also it's beautiful. And I thought that was very fun.
I did like that.
Mostly because it threw me back to us reading Mouse Guard. And I was like, oh yeah, I know what a pine marten is. I read Redwall and Mouse Guard and all that.
Yeah, Redwall was the first time I ever heard of a pine marten. I remember that specifically.
We get a lot of, like, really, like, UK animal vibes in this book because the wildcats are specifically
They're Scottish wildcats, right?
They're Scottish wildcats, yeah. So, like, it's very much like a creature that you would only see over there.
Yeah, I appreciated that. I really liked that they were Scottish wildcats.
I did too. I was so happy. I was like, yes, we're not just domestic cats. We're like big guys.
Big guys.
And they do hybridize with domestic and feral cats.
They do hybridize with domestic cats. It's a thing that is like a danger to the species. They're like, we gotta keep this from we gotta keep them from fucking, because it's messing with the bloodlines.
Yeah. So yeah, I did really enjoy seeing Scottish wildcats there. I thought that was very fun. And especially because Scottish wildcats, like, if you just looked at a picture and did not have a sense of scale, like, yeah, that's just a fucking tabby cat.
What do you think the evil animal place is?
I think based on the way that they were talking, that like they talked about it, it feels like exotic pet trade, but it could also be something akin to like Tiger King roadside zoo sort of situation.
Yeah.
But they're all in cages, so I'm definitely feeling like they're in small cages, it feels like. So I'm definitely leaning towards exotic pet trade.
Yeah, it felt more like cages than enclosures. It's just that I know at one point they described a giraffe, and I don't think anybody is exotic pet trading a giraffe. Maybe they are.
Yeah, that...
It could, but a giraffe? A giraffe?
Do people exotic...
Zebra. They saw a zebra, and even a zebra I could see ending up in the exotic pet trade. A giraffe
definitely.
A giraffe, though, I don't know.
Yes, people do trade and keep giraffes as exotic pets, though it is rare and highly expensive.
Where do you keep it? Rich people have too much space. Rich people have ranches. Too much space.
I found bucktrader.com giraffe for sale in Texas. Exotic ranch price guide. If you can get a permit to have a giraffe.
You can get a permit to have a giraffe?
Yeah.
They shouldn't.
In the U.S.
They shouldn't let rich people do things.
They shouldn't let people do that.
Okay. This makes me feel a little better. I had two vastly different opinions on this whole thing, depending on if it was exotic pet trade or if it was evil zoo, because I generally have a big problem with evil zoo portrayals in media because it perpetuates very outdated ideas about zoos that if you look at accredited zoos and the way that they are run now, they are literally saving species. The California condor would not exist anymore without the Los Angeles Zoo. The peninsular pronghorn would not exist anymore without the Los Angeles Zoo. They do zoos, accredited zoos that are taking care of their animals appropriately, do good work. I have heard people before say, I would rather see an animal be dead than in a zoo. And I think that's an insane statement to make.
That's an insane thing to say. Yeah, no. I mean, so I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this. I live in North Carolina, which has the largest natural habitat zoo.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, the North Carolina Zoo, it is one of 2 state-supported zoos in the United States, and it is the world's largest natural habitat zoo.
That rules.
This thing, fucking huge. I've only been once, and we walked around the zoo, and I genuinely could not walk the next 2 days.
Yeah.
I was so sore.
Zoos.
It is miles and miles of walking.
They're big.
They're big. And
They're
like
big.
that's why it's so big, is because they have natural habitats.
Yeah.
And they are like, I mean, it's really cool. It is like, it is an incredible zoo to visit. It is so much space, so many animals. But yeah, I mean, like, I have been and always will be that an accredited zoo that is doing the proper work and care and research is incredibly important.
Yes.
However, I have seen a lot of roadside zoos. Those places, not good.
Those places, not good. Yeah. And this is not, and I know that there have also been, there's been a lot of zoos have had a troubled history. That I will admit. But a lot of people nowadays continue to just go like very hard
All
on
zoos
being anti-zoos whatsoever. And that is just not, in a world where we are destroying animals' natural habitats, accredited zoos are doing a massive favor to these species and keeping them alive and stuff. And so that's always, anytime I get a whiff of like evil zoo in media, I'm like, careful where you're stepping, because you're stepping very close to where I don't like people to go, because it continues to perpetuate these ideas.
Yeah, but from my cursory research here, like, this is probably exotic pet trade, but roadside zoos will get their giraffes from the exotic trade as well. So that is probably why they would have something like that. But yeah, I was definitely like, no, this is the first moment I saw it, I was like, this is exotic pet trade. Like, there is no way this is not, because it felt that was what the description felt like.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah. And with the way they were going to take the kittens away as well.
Yeah.
Even with that, I think that the whole jailbreak here felt like the exact opposite of the light touch that we talked about when we dealt with the hoarding situation in Gray Stripe's Vow. And this is the same. Cherith Baldry, I believe, also wrote that book. And this is like completely the opposite and so strange. And literally our protagonists are worsening the situation for every single animal in that place except for the wildcats. And it was...
And Ivypool even has that thought. She's like, oh, they're probably gonna really be cruel to those animals now that we've done this. And it's like...
And then she's like, well, it's not our problem.
Yeah.
It was rough.
It was definitely rough.
It felt very much like they wrote themselves into a corner with that whole idea and just didn't have an idea of how to get out of it. I think maybe a backyard breeder would have been a better like allegory to use here or something.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have needed the exotic animals there, because you could have been having somebody who was backyard breeding Scottish wildcats with domestic
crossbreeding them to make like designer cats. Exactly.
Yeah, which is what a lot of people do with Bengals. I'm still trying to find size comparisons, and none of these are showing me proper
I know,
images.
there's no size comparisons. It's killing me. Well, I suppose they don't want them to be...
They said they're just too horny for each other.
They don't want them to be colluding.
Have them in a picture together.
Shout out to confirmation that the cats have representational art, because they literally talk about inventing a symbol for StormClan.
Yeah, that was crazy to me, because like we as readers have had the clan symbols forever. Right. There has been no mention of the cats knowing what those are.
No, they don't have real clan symbols. They don't have clan symbols like oh no, words are failing me again. Diegetically. They don't have, to my knowledge, there are no diegetic symbols for the clans in the series, except now StormClan has one.
Yeah, which that threw me off. I was like, what the fuck do you mean?
It feels of a piece with a lot of the the muddling and big strange swings that I feel like is going on with all of the metaphysics of this book in the back half.
Yeah. Which, like, let's get into that, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't hate all of the metaphysics that we got into here. I loved that this book expounded upon the fact that, like, we have already seen that different groups of cats have different versions of an afterlife. And I liked that was something, like, as a person who grew up in a very organized religion and now does not ascribe to that religion anymore, but still has, like, there are spiritual aspects in my life. There is still, this is like a very common ex-Catholic thing. There is a particular saint in Catholicism that is supposed to be the saint of lost things. And so every time you lose something and you can't find it, you say a prayer to Saint Anthony and then you find it. I have not been to church in God knows how long. I am not Catholic any longer. Do I still say, Tony, Tony, turn around when I have lost something and I do not know where the fuck it is? Yes. Does it still work? Yes. Is it just confirmation bias? Probably. But there's also from, I think it was The Office, like, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Like, I am a little stitious. There are things that I can be like, yes, I can appreciate, like, this aspect of a spirituality from different parts of, like, my life or worldview or whatever. Like, I can get that. And so I like when the books explore the fact that, like, that is the thing that I find the most interesting when we have these different cat groups, is, like, exploring their connection with the afterlife, because the afterlife is so important in the Warrior Cats universe. So I really enjoyed seeing, like, you know, we talk about how the sisters kind of interact with the afterlife and how most of their stuff is, like, they're more connected to the spirits of cats that, like, haven't moved on somewhere.
Right, continue to exist sort of as wandering spirits.
Yes. And then I liked that the wild cats have a more, like, elemental, like, everything has a spirit to it. Like, our ancestors are all around regardless of if we can see them or not. And they do also have the more concrete, like, yeah, there is an afterlife that, like, you go to, and there is a place where you can, like, go and speak to the ancestors. But we also just say, like, quick prayers to anything in the world as, like, part of, like, this is the world that we live in and we should appreciate it, and everything that we love is a part of it. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought that really worked.
What I didn't like was the introduction of the River of Spirits.
The what?
The It's a Small World log flume ride that the cats go on to go from one afterlife to the other.
Oh my god.
Fuck that. It was stupid as hell. I don't fuck with that because I prefer the concept of, like, you go to the afterlife that you ascribe to, and, like, that's the situation. They all exist together, but they're not connected.
Right.
And so the fact that you could just hop a ferry, apparently, and chug on down the river to the dark forest, when we made a very big point about the fact that there is, like, a leak
That's true. Yeah, between Starkland and the Dark Forest, and that was, like, fucking up the whole ecology. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
So I did not like the River of Spirits. I liked the different afterlives. I really liked the idea that Bristlefrost's spirit is not existing in Starkland, but is existing in everything in the world around them.
Yes.
But I did not like the, like, well, we're going to connect them all. And now you can just, like, now these cats know the secret of, like, going between the two. I'm like, no. Yeah. That's undoing so much of this cool work that you've just done.
It's very, even I think if it had been something like there is a special ritual that we will help you do that lets you go from where we are, you know, like in this one to StarClan, like to do a jump over or something, that would sit better with me than the river, especially because it almost, at one point, it almost makes the Wildcats almost say like, this is a river that we have, so it's like a one-way river. We can access everybody else's places, but nobody else. And it's like a two-way. It's like a one-way mirror.
Yeah, like that would have been interesting because they are the ones that like their spirits, when they finally end, like go out into the world and just like imbue everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but yeah, it did that was a lot for me.
The river really harshed my vibe.
The concept of StormClan in general was also kind of a lot for me. I know that we're going to read StormClan's Folly relatively soon, and maybe that will make me a little softer on it. But the whole idea that like these two clans merged, and then it's not just like they merged and then they separated again in the territories. It's like they merged and they went away, and then some of them split off and came back and restarted ThunderClan and WindClan. Going that far, it would have made more sense if it were
a section of the clans had broken away. A section of the clans broke away and went off. I would have been a lot more hot on that. Mm-hmm. As it stands, I am very compelled by StormClan, but we all know that is because I really fuck with the concept of an additional clan that has been out there this whole time.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's really the reason that I appreciated this book, was like it made the world feel bigger again. Mm-hmm. Like it made it feel like we are going beyond the very like, really, I mean, honestly, the lake territory feels so insular now. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't feel like there is room at the lake territories for like these bigger things to be happening. Mm-hmm. So like that's one thing that I really did appreciate about this book is like giving us the idea that there are other cats that live in clans, but they live like that because they learned else like from old clan cats like Warrior Clan did. Mm-hmm. But I agree, the idea that all of WindClan and ThunderClan left and only some of them came back and restarted their clans.
And nobody...
And that was never talked about. Like there's no way. It is so much more likely for them to never talk about the fact that, like, part of WindClan and ThunderClan left.
Right.
Because their leaders fell in love and they were like, all right, bye.
Yeah.
Like, that makes a lot more sense to never talk about.
Yes. Yeah. Even if there is sort of this idea that, like, StarClan made itself forget because they were so ashamed, which is implied at one point in here. It's like, no, there would still be like a contingency of StarClan cats that would be like, I'm not forgetting because I think this is important.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that part was really far-fetched for me. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll end up feeling softer on it when we actually read StormClan's Folly. I'm not convinced, but I remain open to being wrong. Mm-hmm. The pulling, I actually did really like the pulling back the StormClan spirits, like, from this other kind of afterlife into StarClan. That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
And I did really, like you said, I really, really like the addition of, if you are not a literal embodied spirit anymore, your energy and your selfhood is spread throughout the world in a way that you are still present in this different way that is hard for living cats to understand, but is still meaningful and still something that you can be aware of and appreciative of.
Did you ever watch The Good Place?
I did watch The Good Place.
Yeah, this is just the ending of The Good Place.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, you live as a spirit after you die, and when you're like, yeah, I'm finally, like, done existing, I have completed everything that I feel like I want to complete, I'm content, you walk through the door and you just become the energy that gets put back out into the world. And it was a real... Dog, I have not been able to rewatch A Good Place because that ending made me so sad.
Yeah.
Like, I cried so hard. But, like, it was to me, that is such a beautiful ending and beautiful idea of, like, the things that you, like, when you feel that peace with yourself, you put that peace out into the world. And I feel like that was a really nice thing in that media, and I feel like that's a really nice thing in this media.
It is.
And I liked that there was kind of that interchange between it, with, like you said, with the StormClan spirits, like, being sort of brought back by the memory of things.
Right. Specifically because they had been sort of forcibly forgotten, and so they hadn't had control over it, and so they are able to, like, reconstitute and have an afterlife in a different way. I thought all that was really cool. And
you have a note here about their names.
The Wildcat names are so bad, gamers.
Yeah, they're not great, but I love the naming convention, I want to really like them so bad.
The naming convention rules, which is basically the naming convention is you give your child one half of a name, and then they are given sort of an ancestral mentor from their afterlife, and the child takes on one half of the ancestral mentor's name as the second half of their name. That rules. Unfortunately, the
names are kind of bad.
The names are pretty bad. Stalker is really not good to say. They're all like that, and they're just Tumbleleap is better, but it's not great. There were a lot of them that were just like, this is strike slash. Like it's not they don't have it. Spring Claw, I don't know. They don't have it today. Prowl Sleek. You can't say them is the big problem. You can't.
That's the thing. Is they're very like the idea of them is good, but they are hard. They are hard to vocalize.
Yeah, it's too many adverbs too. I think. Yeah, I don't know. It was really tough because again, I think the concept of it again. Call me a broken record. We got concepts, good. Execution, questionable.
Yep.
Do you have anything else you would like to bring up before we talk a little bit more about Bristlefrost and the ending?
I did like that Ivypool and Stockpur had that conversation where she's like kind of telling Ivypool like, you are thinking about the world too narrowly.
I really liked that scene.
Yeah, and she's like, you would never have believed me. Like, Ivypool's like, I never would have believed you if you told me about the animals that we saw in that two-leg den. And it's like, yeah, that was a really good conversation of like, Bristlefrost may not exist in your afterlife, but that doesn't mean like you forgetting her is going to make her go away, as the book has clearly shown.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked that. Let's talk about the ending, because I feel like we have two very different opinions.
Oh, interesting. All right. My thing with this is that I really like the idea that she continues to exist in the world in this way. The part I didn't like was both Ivypool and Root Spring having a dream where she literally comes to them and says, I'm still here.
Yes. Okay. Never mind. We agree. Because I was about to say, if Scout is about to say that she didn't like the fact that, they look at the stag and they see, the kindness that Bristlefrost had in her, reflected in there, I was like, I'm gonna have to end this call.
No, that shit rules. It's specifically the dream that I really struggled with because it's not necessary, and it takes away the importance of the importance of belief in it, right? It lays it out too directly.
Yes. The fact that she's like, you only need look for me. No, we have explicitly been told that because you just had that conversation that I mentioned with Stockpur where she's like, you have to look beyond StarClan when you are looking for your daughter. She is not there, but she is elsewhere. So yes, I agree, actually, 100%. I feel like that particular part, really was not necessary and felt very we know y'all don't have media literacy, so we're gonna hit you over the head with it a little.
It was very, I feel like with all of the repetition in this book also, there's a lot of talk about media being written with second screens in mind, and that doesn't really apply to a book, but there is a particular kind of, I feel like, philosophy of storytelling that might leak its way into the writing of children's media in the 2020s. And this kind of thing also falls in that to me, where it's like, did you get it? Did you get?
Yeah.
You see? She's in there.
You get what I'm saying here? Yeah.
She is there.
Because I feel like you didn't need that to have the moment with the stag, because the moment with the stag is very much that explicit statement, but without Bristlefrost's spirit showing up, which that's the whole point of the book, is her spirit doesn't exist.
I think the moment, exactly, yes, and I think the moment with the stag is actually lessened. I still think it's really cool, because just a quiet moment of two cats looking at a big white deer, fuck yeah, that rules.
Yeah.
But I think it is lessened even driven by, like, it would have hit even harder if we hadn't immediately preceding that had this dream where it literally lays out, I am Bristlefrost and I am still here. And you can like see me and interact with me in this moment, and then I will go away again. It's like, no, I don't want us to have something that concrete. It takes away also the sacrifice that she made in the first place. If there is some way for her to manifest, even if it's just a dream, that takes away from the point of all this to me.
Yeah, 100% agree.
But overall, I loved this idea of her still being there.
Yeah, the idea of Bristlefrost as like a conscious entity being no longer existent, but them being able to find her in like the kindness that they see in other cats, because like that was the thing about Bristlefrost's death, is like the fact that the last thing she felt was love. It's like, yes, they should be able to understand that like when they are feeling love, they are also feeling Bristlefrost.
Yeah.
So I really liked that as like the conclusion, but I wish it hadn't been so heavy. Like, I wish it hadn't been just handed to me.
Yes, exactly.
And like, we say a lot, like, yes, these are kids' books, but like, kids are capable of understanding that. Like, kids are smarter than you think. Like, kids are capable of understanding these kind of complex issues without being handed it so directly. Especially, like, I feel like in this, it is pretty well stated that, like, people would be able to understand. But they were like, no, we have to be, like, explicit about it.
We have to say it.
Please, can we just use subtlety for once?
I'm taking the pens away. You have to leave.
Yeah.
When I was 3 years old, my favorite Disney movie, far and away, as has been reported by my parents, was The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Great choice.
Yeah, hell yeah. And I feel like if there's any evidence that children can fuck with media that is hitting way above their pay grade, it's Little Scout being like, yeah, I don't know the word licentious, but I get what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and like that's the thing too, is like I think I mentioned on here before, I recently, like, our friend's kid brought a copy of her book to the table and gave it to me to borrow. Like, yes, here, borrow this, read it, bring it back. I was shocked at how sad that book is, like how deeply it touched on like grief and guilt, and like there's a whole scene of like, spoilers for The Wild Robot, whatever. She accidentally kills the duckling's parents.
Yeah.
And like has to reckon with that. And this is a book that is written in an incredibly simplistic style and is written for children. A literal 7-year-old recommended it to me. Mm-hmm. But it is done in such a like genuine and well-written way that it is not like, it isn't beating you over the head with the meaning of it. Exactly. It is letting you like understand the situation on your own, which I feel like the Warriors books could stand to do a little more.
Yeah. One of the biggest gifts I think that media can give young children who are engaging with it, like any kind of, I don't want to say young readers, because like anything, one of the biggest gifts of children's media that can be given to children is leaving them with something to think about, because that is the thing that is what we gotta let our kids think. We gotta let ourselves think. We gotta it's not just kids. We gotta let ourselves think. Mm-hmm. If you don't let yourself think, then what are you anymore? You know, like, yeah. So absolutely agree with you on all of that.
But I think that's about all I have.
All right, let's tiptoe over to the Erin Corner then.
Tiptoe.
Other titles pitched for this were Ivypool's Grief and Ivypool's Loss. I agree those are not as good as Ivypool's Hart. The story team specifically said it was because they were too negative. I just think even without that, I don't think they have as good a flow as Ivypool's Hart. I think Ivypool's Hart sounds a lot better to say than Ivypool's Grief and Ivypool's Loss. Mm-hmm. The story team was really pushing this idea at the time that this was coming out, that like this super edition and it would lead directly into StormClan's Folly. This Super Edition was setting up the next Super Edition, which was Ivypool's Hart into StormClan's Folly, and it was like a big back-to-back double-header event. And I'm really curious to see how successful that is or not for me. Mm-hmm. And to also see when we get to StormClan's Folly, like what the fan base thought of that and if they thought it worked.
I will go ahead and say I remember seeing things as StormClan's Folly was coming out, and there were some opinions.
Ooh, rubbing my little hands together.
Opinions I don't necessarily agree with, but there are opinions.
Interesting.
And again, opinions that I am only having because I have not actually read the book, and I am only seeing secondhand through people who have read the book. And as we know, the Warriors fandom is notoriously bad at reading.
Oh, it's so true.
So we will see. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to read it.
There was a poll to pick who would read the audiobook for this one. Somebody named Kate Anvil Rich won. I hope they had samples for folks to listen to, because otherwise, how would anybody know or have any context for what the reading would sound like, unless they just pitched it to like the audiobook freaks who know all of the people who do audiobooks, which I bet that they're shout out to those freaks. I'm sure that you exist out there. I see you and I appreciate what you are doing. Yeah. But yeah, I think this isn't the first time I've heard of this sort of fans choosing the audiobook reader happening. I think this is a side effect of McLeod Andrews' retirement. And they're like, we don't know what to do. We just know people really, really like McLeod Andrews. And so we're trying to find some way to make them not hate whoever comes after him. And maybe choosing them will help.
I definitely saw some people commenting about how they did not care for the person who did the audiobook for this one.
I've heard that on the newest arc, the editing on the audiobooks, this just came up in our Discord the other day, that like the actual audio editing on the new audiobooks and the takes that they are leaving in are rough. So I'm unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's all I've got for the Erin Corner. So why don't you take us on over to Sharing Tongues?
Sure thing. I actually don't have a ton for this one. It's very difficult to find like a lot of content for it. I found a couple of TikToks, which I am realizing now is going to be impossible for me to share because, as we know, it is so hard to share TikToks via link. Mm-hmm. But I will try my best to link them in the Discord once this episode airs, because I did save them into my saves on TikTok, so at least we have that. First thing is that this particular piece of art has been going around this week because it was a recent commission that someone completed of the moment where Ivypool and Root Spring see the stag. And I just thought this was a really lovely piece of art that was done.
Yeah, I really like this.
But yeah, it was somebody commissioned an artist to draw this, and I just think it's very lovely. It kind of is like definitely inspired by the older covers, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just thought it was a really pretty piece of art.
Yeah.
The artist is Cowboys Girl, KOWBOYZGURL. I believe they have an Instagram that you can go follow. But yeah, I really liked it.
I really like this too. And as somebody who also, as soon as I finished reading this book, I felt compelled to like draw this moment because it was very striking to me. Mm-hmm. I get it. And I love that the other people are also feeling that way.
For sure. As far as Tumblr goes, a lot of stuff in the tag is actually also connected to StormClan's Folly. So I'm assuming because we will get some more information about like those particular aspects in that book. So I didn't really see a ton that was Ivypool's Hart related. Mm-hmm. I did see this one from Vrisktoria's Secret, which is Ivypool's Hart spoilers without context, and it is a bunch of seagulls attacking a man climbing a rock. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I feel like we didn't mention the seagulls.
We didn't mention the seagulls, but they were there.
Or the fact that there was a jellyfish that Root Spring took a bite out of.
Oh my god, that's right!
He just took a little nibble.
There were also crabs.
There's a mention here of someone pointed out that Icewing talks about meditating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's spoken of as like, yes, we do this in RiverClan all the time. When, like, that was a very explicit plot point, is that Frostpaw had to go and learn meditating.
That did bother me.
Because the clan had kind of lost the tradition.
Yeah, that was a frustrating moment for me. It was what I didn't put in my notes.
And that is what this person mentioned, is like, it would have made more sense if meditating had been mentioned before this. It shouldn't have been so foreign to Frostpaw if the older cats in RiverClan still did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think you could have made it where you could have made these two things coexist, like having to take the journey to the park cats and RiverClan still meditating. You could have made them coexist in a way that felt better, but as it stands, it just feels like, again, an editing issue.
Mm-hmm. And same person mentioned that same quote that I picked out from Jay Feather. And they said that when Jay Feather dies, there's no way he's going to join the rest of StarClan. Firestar will be giving a prophecy, and Jay Feather will barge in and interrupt him in the middle. Never mind that, Older Hart. What he's trying to tell you is there'll be a hurricane next moon, but you'll all be fine as long as you prepare. It's like, yes, I need that to happen, actually. Jay Feather to just be done with that bullshit. Overall, people are very divided on the existence of StormClan, not for the same reasons that you and I are.
Interesting.
Because we are like, wouldn't it make more sense logically for it to just be part of the clans? But most people I'm seeing that are upset about StormClan are like, man, why the fuck do they have to keep adding this kind of shit? Like, we already had SkyClan. Why do we need another missing clan? And I'm like, I can see that side of the argument. However, I like there being another clan. So I disagree with you. I think it could be executed better, but I like that it exists. So that's just going to be a difference of opinion there. Mm-hmm. This one says, is part of Ivypool's heart, where it says, as she spoke, her body and the lake and woodland all around her began to fade. Finally, all that Ivypool could see was her daughter's blue-green gaze, calm and full of love. Then even that disappeared, and Ivypool opened her eyes to find herself in her nest under the bushes. And then they pull the quote from Light in the Mist, where it says, she closed her eyes and in her last moment felt only warmth, only love.
Bristlefrost, man.
So, I know, man, it's fucked up. But they said, I don't know if this is intentional. I think it's sweet either way. Love is the last thing Bristlefrost felt, and it is the last thing that Bristlefrost left behind. And, like, that's what pisses me off about these books, is sometimes you can have this shit.
I know.
And it is just so fucking good. And then you have to wade through so much other stuff to get, like, these nuggets of really impactful writing.
And it could all be this good. I really truly believe it could all be this good.
I believe it could.
I think this whole book, if it was written differently, could have hit me with the same truck amount of impact that, like, Bristlefrost's death and that last bit
100%.
of that book hit me, because it continues to, like, I will just be like, I will think about Bristlefrost and I'll be like, I'm about to cry because of Bristlefrost. Yeah. And it'll still hit me. And I really wanted more of that from this book, and it just didn't land the way that I wanted it to. But there was good stuff in it.
Yeah. So that was, I think, a nice little through line, a nice little connection there. 803 only had 2 fics tagged for this book, which to me was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised at that. But I am assuming there's probably, and I couldn't even find the Wildcats as a tag, because they don't really technically have a name as a group. They're just called the Wildcats. Yeah. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
What team Wildcats?
What team?
So yeah, very difficult to find. I'm sure there'll be more for StormClan. I say that and I could be completely wrong, but I'm hoping there's more for StormClan. YouTube, I only found one current. There's a little, not an AMV, because it's not a song. It's a collection of drawings attached to a poem. The poem is Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep, which I think is, like, incredibly what this book is in the end.
Yeah, I saw this one last last week after I read the book, and it destroyed me.
Yeah, I love this poem. I think it is one of my favorite poems. And I think it is an incredibly written one. So that is, there's that on YouTube. There's a nice little sketches alongside the poem. And it does seem from what I was looking at that there is a multi-animator project in progress. People have been posting their parts within the past 2 weeks, so there will probably be something eventually.
Ooh.
I pulled, I think, more quotes than usual for the story graph.
Wow.
It got 3.89 stars with 139 reviews. One of the reviews wrote, "I appreciate the attempt at writing a book about grief, but it felt shallow to me because of the repetitive prose and Ivypool's very on-the-nose narration," which I think we both agreed with.
Yeah.
This one brought up a point that I completely didn't even remember to mark. "Why must this debt be paid now? Why is it so dangerous? There is such a sense of urgency to this debt needing to be paid, but it has not, to my knowledge, paid off yet, but it could be setting up for changing skies. I do not know."
Maybe.
But they are insisting that, like, if you don't repay this debt, bad things are gonna happen.
I feel like they just were using that as an excuse to, like, insert it right here, because that was when, like, the writing schedule played out, but I don't know. It didn't.
Yeah, but like, even then, like, it's still like, okay, so why does it need to be paid now?
Yeah.
Someone else wrote, "That being said, the writing here felt rather amateurish, even for Warrior Cats' usual standards. Some passages, such as the ending chapter, were beautiful and well written, but the quality just wasn't there the whole way through," which is exactly what we just said.
Yeah.
The cats can draw. Why don't they do that more? And then they had also mentioned with the whole, like, realizing that Bristlefrost was everywhere, like, I would have preferred if she came to that conclusion but never had it, like, fully confirmed by the fact that Bristlefrost showed up.
Yeah.
This one says, "The Storm Clan and Wildcat story feels like it came out of nowhere, and that's most likely true. It's not bad. I quite like it, but it feels artificial."
It really does feel like when you're watching an anime that is like a well-established story, and then they make a standalone movie, and you go to the standalone movie and they're like, and all this shit is happening over here.
Yeah.
Which is, again, not necessarily bad, but does stick out.
Yes,
or like,
it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is definitely
a notable
thing that is noticeable. This one, I do agree. It felt like the book had an actual purpose rather than to get another book out on the release schedule. Like we feel when a bunch of these biographical ones kind of come out, is like, okay, do we really need the story about this one cat's life?
Yeah.
I did link a very long review that I felt like made a lot of good points, where they did not rate it very highly, but they did, like, it is an incredibly well thought out review. They're not just critical. They are very like, okay, this very much like what we are, where it's like, I like when they try and do something new. I like when they are trying new concepts. I don't like the fact that they just didn't execute it well.
Yeah, exactly. I do really appreciate there's a section in this where the author of the review talks about reading this directly off of a different book that is in like a much different genre and is written for adults and is executed much better. And it's like that influences the way that they view this book, because I have also found that I think I'm harder on the Warrior Cats books now that I have really been getting into my reading habit and reading a lot more books in this past year. And then I go back to the Warriors books and I'm like, well...
Yeah. And that is the unfortunate thing, because, like, I would still recommend some of these, some of the Warrior books. I do still think a lot of them, like, there are some that I think are incredibly well-written novels.
Yeah.
However, as a whole, sometimes it is kind of disappointing.
Yep.
To look at it.
Just because there's so much potential. It's not even that it's like, you know, it's not about like it's a children's series. It's just like they're not executing it.
And as I have repeatedly and will repeatedly maintain, like, not only are children smart enough to handle, like, complex media, children deserve good media.
Children deserve good media.
Children deserve to have good stories. They deserve to be able to like experience those sorts of things. Like they don't need to be watching Cocomelon all the time. Like,
give them something more.
Children deserve good stories. Like, children love good stories. Like, that's what I feel like. I was incredibly lucky to grow up as somebody who like got to enjoy a wide range of well-written stories and got to like experience a bunch of well-written stories as a child. And it's like, kids deserve that because that's how kids get interested in stories.
Yeah.
So that's the end of that rant. And the end of sharing tongues. Why don't we go to our Warrior Cats of the Week?
Yeah. My warrior cat of the week is Whistlepaw. I didn't talk about her that much in our discussion, but she just had a lot of moments that I really appreciated. I liked her getting flirted with and kind of having to gently push those boys away and mother them a little bit.
Sorry, I'm a nun.
Sorry, I'm a nun. There were moments when she really took charge of the quest and of the adventure. I appreciated those moments. I liked getting to see her just do things and sort of be allowed to be in charge of this at some points, even though she was an apprentice. So I really enjoyed her moments.
Yeah, it was nice.
What about you?
I picked Root Spring.
My boy
Root Spring. I thought his moments were really good. I really liked at the end where he's talking to Ivypool and she's, you know, asking him like, do you think you'll ever find another mate? And he's like, yeah, it's gonna be hard to get over, like to be over her death, but like taking care of those kids made me realize how much I really want to be a father. And I was just like, oh, my boy. He just wants to be a dad. He's got so much love in his heart.
So much love in him.
Even if he doesn't find someone to romantically partner with, I hope that Root Spring gets like, is able to just like adopt a litter of kids that have been abandoned or something. Like, he deserves to be happy.
He does.
And I really liked that he and Ivypool like get together and talk.
I really appreciated
that
their relationship here.
Yeah. All right.
We've done it. We've reached the end.
Before we go into the outro, because we haven't actually talked about this to the listeners yet.
Yes.
This is the end of season 9, which is crazy to think that we have done that many seasons. And at this point, the Changing Skies arc is only halfway released, and we don't want to do like 3 books and then take a massive long break in between while waiting for the next books to release. So we are going to be doing a little bit of kind of some slower releases for season 10. We're going to switch to a monthly release for season 10, which is going to be 5 episodes long. And that's going to be us covering things that were released while we were recording. Because as we mentioned, we started releasing these back in spring of 2023. And in fall 2023, River Stars Home came out right after we'd finished the arc that it would have been slotted into. So we're going to go back and revisit things that have come out since we started recording and didn't fit into where we need to put them. So we will be reading River Stars Home. We're going to read the Prophecies Begin graphic novels, Stormclay's Folly. We're going to do an episode about like the field guides and some of the other like errata and stuff like that. And we have a very exciting little special bit that we're going to be bringing to you guys with that. And then we will finish up with Dark Tales Judgment. So we're going to be doing like a semi-monthly release. I think the months that we're skipping are going to be September and November. Just because there's not actually that much content for us to cover. Yeah. And then at that point, we will probably be going on a sort of hiatus until all of Changing Skies has been released. Yeah. Just because, shockingly, we are almost caught up.
Good job to us. Like, I want to shout out
Yeah.
We've stuck to it. We've been doing it. And I love doing this with you.
We've been doing this for 3 years, which is crazy to me.
That it's 3 years. It's like 3 years this week, just about.
Last week was the 3-year anniversary of our first episode releasing.
Yeah, that's bananas.
Yeah, so that's crazy to us that we've been doing this long and that people have like really been enjoying this. We love doing it, but we don't want to like take that long of breaks in between like single episodes in a season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want to make sure that we have access to the whole arcs, all 6 of the books, before we delve into it.
Yeah, I will say that once we are, honestly, probably once we get through Stormclan's Folly, I'm probably going to pick up Changing Skies and read those on my own before rereading them for when the arc comes out. So those of you who are in the Discord and like really wanting and champing at the bit to talk about spoilers, we may end up having a spoiler chat so that I can talk with you guys about it. But yeah, so that's just letting you guys know that's our current plan. Kind of taking the rest of the year slower and yeah, just enjoying it, having fun.
Yeah, and with that, if you have thoughts, opinions, questions, or memes to share with us, you can write to us at pawsandclawspod@gmail.com. That's paws as in what a cat has, claws as in the part of speech, pod as in podcast. We are also on Blue Sky at Paws and Claws and on Tumblr at Paws Clause Pod. Listeners who are 18 years and older can come join us on Discord, which will be linked in the show notes. We are brought to you by the TWG Podcast Network, which you can find at theworstgarbage.online. You can find me on Tumblr or Blue Sky at Humble Goat and see the art that I do, including our podcast cover art, at scoutwilkinson.myportfolio.com.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at plot-twists or on Tumblr at antique-romantic. Our next episode will be out in 1 month, where we will discuss the 16th published Super Edition, Riverstar's Home. Read along by buying the book from a local bookstore or checking out a copy from your local library. Until then, dear listeners, may StarClan guide your paws.
TWG, the worst garbage, the online.